I guess this is like a story time. I hope you guys get something out of it. I hope I get to monetize my depression. You know, it's a win-win for both of us. Welcome to Dummy Codes, where we talk about coding, we do some coding, and sometimes, we just talk about my failures. But today we're going to talk about my journey. And I don't think I've really talked about how I got to the position that I'm in. I mean, I'm not like a CEO of a company or anything. I'm not super rich. I'm not rich. I'm still in debt, but that's okay. Point is, I don't live some extraordinary life, but I just want you to know I'm doing so much better than I was this time last year or the year before that. Yeah, the year before that. So all that being said, this is a story how I went from a mental hospital to being a software engineer. Jesus Christ. Around 2018, I tried to kill myself. I know. It's not that big a deal. It's okay. Point is, I tried to hurt myself permanently. This is not something that I've tried before. This is not something that, I don't have a history of hurting myself. If I have hurt myself, it's from skateboarding or doing some activity. I'm not the type of person to, try to hurt myself. But I have dealt with depression a long time. At least it seems like that, because Jesus Christ, a lot of years, I can't remember them. After high school, right? After high school, I started, having more free time. With more free time, when you're not just focused on doing your homework, doing whatever, and just surviving in high school, and like you have time to do what you want with your day, right? I started noticing, I started kind of feeling weird. Like school wasn't as interesting to me. Everything, I was just kind of empty, I think there was a lot of stuff that I just kind of forgot about or, just suppressed. So that's something you could do on purpose. Or you could do that completely on accident, right? I remember in high school, I had days where I just start crying for no reason. Like I was always a person who was always making jokes. As you guys could probably tell, I just like joking around. I mean, why not, right? Imagine seeing that kid in your class who's always making jokes, and one day he's just super quiet, and then if you ask him what's wrong a little bit too many times, that man's gonna start crying, and that was me. I had like 5 of those days, weird days. I never really addressed it. I was just like, oh, this is just how I feel today. Fast forward, college, fast forward past that, my YouTube's doing well. I get to travel. I do everything possible to try to make myself happier, try to do things that I try to live in the moment and try to enjoy everything. And then fast forward to that, I go through a couple losses. I'm making mistakes that piss me off till this day because I hate not being aware of what I'm doing or being aware of my actions. That 2020 is hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. When you look back at things, you're like, wow, the things that I know about myself now would have been great to address this issue that, ruined this or ruined this opportunity or whatever the case is. So I just start going through it around 2018, just everything, every little trick that I've done to suppress how I feel is not working. I go on runs. I try to be as busy as possible. Everything that I'm doing is not working. And it's frustrating the hell out of me. I remember that one day, there was nobody at home. And I was just like, I'm done. I was just like, what am I like, what's the point, but I'm always a person who makes extremely dark jokes. But again, I've never tried to hurt myself. I've never, planned anything to hurt myself. But that day, it was just like my body was just like on autopilot. I went on my run, and then when I got home, I sat on my front porch or whatever you call it, and I just sat there. And I couldn't move. And then from that point on, I was just like, all right, go look for something to hurt yourself, Very weird situation to be in. So fast forward through that, I'm very lucky that, the right people got home at the right time. Because a couple more minutes, like I was just sitting in the bathroom, in a couple more minutes, it would have been a bad situation. So I'm very lucky for the people that were around me at that time. Very lucky for my family. And it's just a weird thing because even my family, they'll maybe see me in a bad mood every once in a while, but I'm always quiet in the house, or I'm always keeping myself in some type of way, or I'm just very active and talking to my mom or my brother or whatever. Some days I'm just, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. After that day, I go get checked into a 72-hour hold. And if you guys don't know what a 72-hour hold is, if you're trying to hurt yourself or anything, you could check yourself in and they will, make sure you don't go through that. They make sure that that's out of your system. At least they try to. Some places are not too good at it. I just remember being super drugged up in that day. I don't do drugs in any type of way. I don't drink. I don't, whatever. In those days, my body felt sluggish and like all this stuff. I was on sleep meds. I was on antidepressants. And that was just 3 days. And there are people who had to take those types of pills every single day. And that's scary to me. Me, when I get out of this hospital, I'm just like, ooh, I feel great. I feel like, that's out of the way. I'm so glad we got that out of the way. I'm so glad, I'm going to go hit up this person. I'm going to be very open and talk about my experience, just it's all over. I feel so much better. I feel so clear that everything is going to be so great from now on, right? Oh boy. That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. I remember when I was in this heightened sense of just, happiness or false happiness, because again, my brain is trying to lie to me and say I'm okay. Let's forget about all these thoughts in your head, right? I just remember that in that heightened sense of, happiness, I was like, what am I going to do to not be in that situation again? What am I going to do? What do I like to do? I've been making videos every year and I've worked my ass off and I've done the same thing. And nothing's working with making videos. So you know what? I'm just going to go do a complete 180 and try something else, right? And I thought about, what's creative and what's fun for me, what's interesting to me, what's engaging to me, what can challenge me. All these things that I've pinpointed as what, can make me depressed. If I'm not feeling challenged, if I'm not, all these things I pinpointed, I was like, coding. I'm going to learn how to code and it's going to be so fun, right? It's going to be great. I start looking around. I found some courses. One is like $800 on Udemy or something. I was like, I don't have that. Then I start looking around. I look on freecodecamp.com. All these resources I've told you guys about, I went through this process. I went through that and I was like, I remember Free Code Camp. I used to do this a little bit, but you know what? I need something to get me a job right away. And I remember I applied to App Academy and they denied me so quick. Shout out to App Academy, by the way, because imagine your first technical test while you're peak trying to get your life together. And you're just like, if I get into this, then I could, go into my next level of, get to my next goal. And I'll be so much happier. Imagine your first technical test. My first technical test to get into App Academy, which is a boot camp. The guy was on his phone and I had no idea what was going on the whole time. They were like, oh, this was in the test material. It was not in the test. They had us doing 4 loops. All right. They had us do 4 loops in the prep material. And then in the testing to get in. Yeah. Fun fact, some boot camps will say, 99% of our people graduate and get jobs. It's also because they typically try to accept people with math degrees in there, and then they go into boot camp and then you get a job. So I look around some more. I find the boot camp I went to, which is Lambda School. I don't like saying that out loud because I feel like a lot of you guys will think that I'm trying to promote them. I'm not. I go to Lambda School and it's like a 7-month program at the time. And I'm like, damn it. 7 months, bro? I gotta be broke for 7 more months? And then I go through that and it's just a big learning curve. Like CSS and HTML is just whoosh, everything is just But I remember I was in a great group where everyone was smarter than me. And guys, I keep telling you guys, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you because I could ask so many questions. I would not have gone through all this, boot camp coding stuff if I didn't have great people around me. That's what worked for me, right? I had a very supportive mentor. I have very supportive peers around me. Everyone was so helpful. Moving forward, I'm still trying to change my life. And then, I start learning React and I'm like, damn it. This sucks. This is frustrating. React was very frustrating to learn for me because I can just, sometimes when you can't mentally figure out how information is flowing, you get more and more frustrated when you're trying to learn something, right? And you really want to get it and everyone else around you is getting it. I remember I had my first anxiety and just a month long, I was just wound up from coding 8 hours a day. I was doing nothing but waking up, coding, eating, and it's dangerous because I was in my room all the time. And again, all these things that I tell you guys to do, as in step out, go hang out with your friends, my own personal experience, right? It made learning how to code so horrible when I was just doing all that. So I talked to my boot camp. I was like, hey, I need a break, and I need a serious break. And they were like, okay. So my 1 week break became like a month-long break, and I was perfectly okay with that. A lot of you guys will think, hey, this boot camp is 7 months, so I have to finish in 7 months. Listen, if it's your mental health at risk, just take a break, all right? Trust me, you'll thank yourself and you thank me later. Thank me mainly. I'm kidding. Come back from that, and the rest of the boot camp was so much easier. I again, from that break that I took, I started to understand myself, how I learn, and damn, I had to readjust yet again. And keep in mind at this time, things are tough still. So recently last year, oh my God. Yeah, so recently last year, I lost a very, very, very close friend of mine. We all have that friend, or we all have that family, or I hope you guys have, where you hung around a lot. You know, that friend, you always went to their house a lot. That was my friend. That was like a brother to me. Literally was damn near a brother to me, you know, growing up with someone for these crucial teenage years. And like, I was close with his brother who was, I was a little bit closer with his brother, but I was also, I feel like, equally closer with him. We just had different interests, but it was just amazing to see this person grow in front of me. And I was close with his sisters. I was close with his mom. I was close with his dad. And just to see that this person passed away and we had lost touch, because again, I'm going through all this stuff myself and I'm horrible at keeping touch sometimes. We lost touch, and I hear that he died, and that sucked. And it's weird to go through something like that while you're going through your own battles mentally. And I think I remember at this point, I was like, I'm at risk of just shutting down again, and I don't want to do that. And I remember, you know, I went to the funeral, and his mom was like, hey, son. And I started crying, you know. And that shit sucked. Oh my God. Anyways, it hasn't been an easy journey to get where I am, but the story's not over yet. So moving forward, you know, I take another break after that happens. I took like a month-long break. You know, one of a very close person that I used to be close with, that friendship ends, like, just, you know, arguing, whatever, it just ends, and that messed with me mentally. But I knew I just had to keep going, and I knew I just had to push through and get my job, you know. And at this point, after like 2 months of, you know, being on break and some difficulties, my 7 months is up. Now I'm like 9 months into this program and I'm nowhere near a job, right? They're like, oh, you got 1 more month left. You got to wait till this cohort starts and blah, blah, blah. So I'm getting frustrated with myself. And I'm just tired of being broke, man. Like, being broke and being depressed is not a good mix. So I make a video about, you know, everything that I've been through in the past year. I hadn't uploaded in a year. I stepped away from making videos. I just was honest and I talked about all my experiences. And if you guys have seen that video too on this channel, after that, I start focusing more on this channel where I start, you know, talking about my experiences, talking about, you know, if you guys have watched my videos, you know for a fact that I will say grind, but at the same time, take care of your mental health. And that's because I'm talking from my own experience. I don't want to just say things just for the sake of sounding like cool or whatever. Like, genuinely take care of yourself mentally first, and then everything will start working out. Because as soon as I started doing that, as soon as I started putting myself out there, as soon as I started trying to help other people and talk about my own experiences, things started working out for me. I started feeling way better than I used to. I don't know, man. Like, last month, I made some money. This month, I'm doubling what I made. And that's just because of YouTube. That's just because of me putting myself out there. And that's because of the job that this channel was helping me to get. It's just a lot of things have been working out for me, and it wasn't an easy path to get here. It's easy to see people in successful positions. If you consider me successful, I consider myself successful. Success is, you know, your own definition, but I consider myself successful, especially from where I came from a month ago, a year ago, or 2 years ago. It's tough, but I want you guys to know, just keep pushing, man. Like, and again, take your breaks. You need your breaks. And just don't push yourself to the point where you need like a month-long break. Like make it a habit, just like it's a habit to code. Make it a habit to give yourself a break. Make it a habit to see your friends. Make it a habit to do something that makes you happy besides coding. You know, coding is fun. Coding will, you know, bring you happiness and, you know, pleasure from solving these problems. But at the same time, it is not natural to be a human sitting at a desk, looking at a screen. It's not natural. Do those natural things that will make you happy. But that is how I became a software engineer, from mental hospital to software engineering. Yeah, that's me. That's my story. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Help me monetize my depression, and I will see y'all later. Thank you. Bye. Oh God, that was a 20-minute video. It's gonna suck editing this.